Welcome to Volleyball Courtside. I'm your host, Makayla Frias, and I'm joined by Yelps Beach volleyball players Greta and Lauren. So, Greta and Lauren, how are you guys doing today? Doing well? You pretty good? Yeah, doing good. Yeah. So, to kind of start us off, we want to get the ball rolling. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your positions.
I'm Lauren. I'm a senior here at the College of Idaho, and I transferred my junior year, so I've only been here 2 years. And my position, I usually play either two back or split.
So I'm Greta, I'm a sophomore, and my story is really weird. I'm like international. I was born in California, I moved to Lithuania, lived there, finished high school, came to the U.S. I wanted to play sports all my life, and I chose beach.
That's awesome. So for some of the viewers who don't know, kind of explain the biggest differences and kind of why you guys chose beach versus indoor volleyball.
From my experience, I've never played indoor. Like, I've played indoor in like PE, where like it's just like peppery or whatever. And so my mom always had a hunch that I was going to play beach, but she never told me. And I was like, well, where was that all my life? So I used to play tennis for 8 years. And then in my sophomore year in high school, I was like, let me try beach. I have a classmate who's like playing, invited me, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. I've been playing beach for like 5 years now. So yeah, and I really love beach. Yeah, I like it more than indoor, more on the side where my body feels better, and like the indoor is hard. So
yeah, and some of the biggest differences with indoor to beach is that it's doubles. Yeah, and you'll have teams of 5 for your school, and so it's best 3 out of 5 who wins those games. Also, like when you're playing in a pair in one of the top 5 games, you can't actually be coached by the coach during the game.
Okay.
So like you'll be able to switch sides every 7 points, or if you go to third, you'll switch at 5. But during those switches is the only time you can get coached, and after that, it's kind of super independent on you and your partner. So a lot of people love that. A lot of people don't. But I played indoor my whole life until college, and that's where I got introduced. And, you know, I love it. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of changes because you're used to that indoor aspect of nothing to worry about but the court and your team. But you have all these like weather changes, and you have like more responsibility that you're given. But it's also a really cool thing to experience, and it's something that I feel like indoor athletes don't think that's available to them when they are in indoor, but you know, there's a whole culture of beach volleyball, which is super cool, and it's really fun.
Yeah. And kind of as you explained, so there's pairs. So tell me about the process of determining those pairings and how that works.
So for us, it's like for the whole season. Like we were working on this, like even like last year, we were working on our pairs like mid-season.
Yeah.
Like you never know who you're going to click with. That's like why like beach is so versatile. Like in indoor, you're going to be subbed out. Like that's how I feel about it. But like in beach, you're standing for yourself, and you have to trust your partner. And like on that part, I feel like partners have to click. Like you have to be able to have that bond.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complete trust that you have to have because it's so like interdependent on each other. And it's something that, like we said, we'll work on whole season. And if coach sees something that works with you and this one person, then she's going to try to work with that and try to give y'all a chance to both play and get that opportunity on the team. But for the most part, I feel like as athletes, we all have to be versatile with anyone that we get put with. So it could be one person one day, it could be someone the next. But ultimately, like working well with that partner, trusting that partner, having like confidence in yourself are key things that like you'll be looking for when you're paired up with someone, not just in yourself, not just in a pair, but like within a partner. You gotta be like, I want to play with that person. And like when you have that trust, people will see it and they're like, they're made to be together.
Yeah. That individual chemistry is very unique. It's really interesting to see in comparison to a lot of other team sports, and I was like, get that, it's close. But moving along into talking about season, tell me about the inaugural season last year and the development of the beach courts and how that became beneficial for the program.
Yeah. So we started playing on the grass, which was it was pretty good. It's a good step outside. And once the beach courts got fully developed, like we were just, let's go. All of us are super excited to get on the court, super excited to play. And I think that just helped kickstart like the motivation of like that championship mindset that we preach on the team is like, okay, now let's get our feet rolling and let's get the season going. And I think it was really helpful and like a really cool experience, not just for a team, but for people to come drive by or like watch our games and be like, why is there a beach court? And I know, or something like that. But it's pretty cool. It really helps like build a cool beach culture here, and it's just fun to play on the team.
I agree. Yeah, we go through a lot of adversity. So, and our like off season, like for jam term especially, we have to practice indoors because it's freezing outside, and our sand courts are like frozen bits, like literal ice out there. So, like for the beach only girls, like for me, it's a hard transition because it's so different, and you still have to be gritty, and that for like you still have to like dive for the ball. You're not gonna let the ball dive, even if it's like hard court.
Yeah.
So like that switch is hard, but then you just have to keep in mind that, hey, you're gonna be back so soon. But it's like challenges we come over, and it makes us stronger.
Absolutely. Definitely develops the whole team as individuals and together. And kind of as we talk about navigating the season, tell me about some of the moments from last season that you guys are taking into this year or changing for this year, or how you guys have all reevaluated since last season.
So a big one for me is communication. Oh, I learned so much from last year. It was like, they don't talk about that when you're being recruited. Like, it's going to change your life. So communication, and when, like, in the qualifiers in California, I got paired with Desi and, like, a teammate that I really clicked with. And it was like, okay, we haven't played for a long time because I had another pair, Clark. And everything was going good. And then when we got back, and then I was like, oh my God, okay, talk to her, like, see how you feel. But yeah, it was like a whole shift. Like, there was a lot. And then for now, I'm just trying to stay composed and like, hey, if that happens, I'm going to talk through it, see how I feel, see what changes I can make.
No. And like one big thing I think we brought from last season would definitely be confidence. Like, I feel like from the get-go, like as soon as we got our full team together, coach always like had this mindset of like, we are the championship team. And so I think that's like one huge thing that she like had such a big belief in and made us believe in ourselves, I feel like, as a team. And so like we, as a first year program last year, we did tremendously well. And so bringing that into like our season at the end of the year, we finished great, I think 3rd place, and like that was great. But now like coming into this next year, it's like, so what's next? Like, what do we got to do to keep that mindset going, to keep that confidence going? You know, we have people who graduate, or like we have newcomers coming in. So how do we build that confidence on these newcomers? And what do we say to be like, okay, what's next? And like keep building that culture, because if we think about it, we are like writing history for beach volleyball. So I think that's super important. And so we have to have that strong mindset from the beginning. And I think carry that over into every season of like, let's build this super confident culture and like get that going. And so people can say like, I want to come play beach at C of I.
Yeah. We want freshmen to come in and be like, oh my God, like I have to step up my game. Like, this is the team I'm going to play with. Like, I have to be on their level. It's not a bad thing. Like, looking from that perspective, like, these people are going to help me get better. Yeah. I feel like our team is really good at that, like bringing each other up. So yeah, I really like that about us.
Yeah. That's awesome. You guys have kind of started to find your group and just who you guys are as a program, and it'll continue to build on itself year on year, which is really great to hear. But to go back into last year, what were some of your favorite matches from last season?
That's a BSU.
Oh my God. Such a fun experience, especially for like freshmen or people like coming in and they're like, okay, we get to play some like D1 volleyball. Yeah, that was awesome. Such a cool time. That was like my like first time really playing up the front, like, and getting blocks on super big BSU girls. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, and the weather was nice.
The weather was amazing. It really depends on the weather, but she was one of my favorites. And then California. Yeah, BSU game, I was like, the girls are hitting. And I'm like, okay, so the net's mine. Like, I have logger, like a split log, so I usually set up the net, and I like when the girls hit. It's like, it feels good. It feels empowering. But the California game was really nice because that was the breakthrough. I was like, you got to step up. You got to step up to your game. It was a really good learning experience. And the weather was amazing. We got all tan. Yeah. Got some sun.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good.
Yeah. And it's a cool experience too, because I mean, this is a lot of firsts for a lot of people, especially as a program. And so like getting to Chula Vista and seeing everything and we got to stay in the Olympic Village. Yeah. And so that was like pretty cool and like awesome and really inspiring for us as athletes to say like, this is like a continued thing after school, or like these athletes are pushing themselves every day and you're lucky to come like stay in their little environment, little town outside of everything and just like be athletes.
Yeah.
And so that was an awesome experience, and like playing against some really great teams, and like we wish we would have finished higher, but like, I mean, that's what we get to do, say what's next, and that's our goal this year. So
absolutely. And you know, we've talked about it, so tell me more about the NAIA West qualifiers in California. What was it like getting there? What was the experience like, and what do you think that kind of sent a message to the girls in the program and moving on into next year and years to come?
I think getting there like was a huge confidence boost for everyone. I mean, especially for like a first year program, like I keep saying, like it's a huge thing to make it that far so early, because it's not really common. Like people will say, oh, that's a first year program, they're gonna like be okay, and then they'll have to build it. But we had a really great start, and so getting there and seeing like all the teams that we had to like kind of compete against were like definitely like something that we'd say, okay, like this is what we have, this is what we have to work with, and how are we going to finish, and what are we going to do to take these steps to get there. And it was really cool. We got to kind of look at like other aspects of teams, or look how we are like team bonding, how we were connecting while we were away, how we were like staying mindful of like what we needed to do. But ultimately like it was something that like we built off of an entire season of work. And so really it was like let's showcase what we got.
Yeah.
Let's like do what we came here to do, and like have some fun, play some volleyball, and like go all out with grit. So
I feel like that was our mindset. Like, absolutely. It was like the end of season and we were like, hey, all or nothing. Let's put everything we got in there. And like it was surreal. Like we ended with a 5-0 win against, I don't remember, like another California team.
yeah.
I think so. And that was like, hey, we still got this. Like, we know that Portland's really good. We know that other teams are really good. Let's show them what we got. And like, it was emotional by the end, because we were like, oh, this is, you know, for the season. And we had a few seniors. It was like, you have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's huge reality for like players, especially when you get to a college level of like, this is what we worked for. Like we went through club, we went through school, and like, it's something that we like really want. And like I feel like if you love this sport, and if you love any sport in general, like getting to a college level is such a gift. And it's so like just eye-opening, and it's just like awesome. And like at the end of the season, when you have those emotional moments, it's like you're so grateful for the time that you have and the time that you have had. And so it's definitely something that you'll never forget. And so I feel like the ending of each season, it's just like always that inspiring yet emotional time where you're like, this is where we came, this is how far we got, and like it was awesome.
Now like reminds us to not have regrets. Because everything will just come back in your mind. Just go full out for the 4 years you have.
Yeah. And kind of to get to know more of your guys' style of preparing for games, walk us through what you do to mentally and physically prepare before matches or games, on the road, at home, how that kind of looks for you guys.
For me, I really like to listen to music. Or Lauren. She brought a whole speaker. We were playing music. Like our whole team feels like we have energy. We have like, hey, let's get over it. Like, let's get it after. For me, what goes through my mind is like, I believe in what I have, and if they perform better, that just makes me like feel that they were just better that day. Like there's nothing I could have done. I put everything in. Like I'm telling myself that I'll do everything that I can, and if not, there's room for improvement. And it's always good. So it's like getting ready, getting mentally prepared, because I know that I'm physically prepared.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing of like knowing that every game that you walk onto, it's like you've prepared for. And like I feel like that's like huge like confidence thing that I use. Is like as soon as we have breakfast and get on the bus, it's like your mind has to switch into this like focus mode. But at the same time, like she said, I love playing music, and so I think that's like a huge confidence boost, a huge like mind focuser. And like it's always like either like super high music or like super like get to the point music. So it definitely like lets yourself think. And I think once we get there to the courts, I'm like, okay, like now I know like everything that I do is like gonna be shown on this court. And I think like a huge thing that I use, or I personally use, is like next point. Like I personally call it the Dory mindset of like, I can't focus on the past, so I always like to focus on the future. And so whenever I'm on the bus, I'll envision like what I feel like good like championship like game would go, and I envision myself doing like all the right things, having fun, having a good time, connecting with my partner. And then when we get to the court, like that's where like my confidence and my positivity comes out, and I'm like, okay, so now I know what I want to do. Now let's go do that. So
yeah, one more thing is like with beach, I feel like not a lot of people talk about it, but it's so flexible. You never know what you're gonna go up against. Like you can watch film, you never know what they're gonna pull out. You know, it's for beach is like, you know, your opponent is good. So basically, like even in the pro leagues, it's a 2-point game. Yeah, like you're just fighting to stay in the game. Like you're reading your opponents just as much as they are reading you. Like it's a race, very basically. So it's like you have to let it go. Like you have to understand that they're gonna be as good as you because you're in the same like conference as well, and like you train every day. So you have to appreciate your opponent as well. And that's why it's like I feel like beach players have so much respect for each other because we know how hard we work for what we did.
And it's just a cool culture that we have like with other teams, because like in the moment you'll be like super like in the zone and like, let's beat this team, let's get it done. Like that's the biggest thing, because a lot of the times, like how I said, it's 3 out of 5. So like you want to be the first 3. Like you want to get that win over with, so you know like you're locked in for the rest of the time. But like it's super cool when she said like the respect for each other with each team, is because like even when we're at Chula Vista, Southern is a huge opponent of ours.
Like we wanted to beat them so bad. That we saw them behind. Like me and Desi were playing our like match, and I just hear Southern players being like, they know our names. They were cheering our names. And I was like, oh my God.
And so it's super inspiring to see that, because like it just shows you the culture of beach volleyball. And so I think that's really cool. And like you have music playing while you're in the game, you're in the zone, and like people are cheering you on, and like it's super amazing culture that I feel like is not really so much in the indoor volleyball. So I think that's one huge adjustment that you see when you think of beach volleyball. You're like, oh my gosh, like it's definitely something different.
It like goes on to like players itself. Like my style is really fluid, and like it goes on to my personality. I feel like beach like dials down to who you are. Because like I feel like indoor would have like constrained me more, but that's just my personal opinion. And I feel like this year we had like such a great time with the indoor girls. Like they just clicked instantly. We didn't have to go the awkward phase, you know, like, oh no, we just jumped it. Oh, we're good to go. Like you're a part of us, let's go.
That's awesome. It's a very like individualized sport, and it is all based on that connection you have with your partner and kind of each other. So it's really unique to see how different it is just from, you know, I play softball, so we're always like as a team together, like very focused, one pitch at a time. But it's also like you guys have kind of a more like relaxed style of play, which I think is really fun to see for other athletes on campus. And so before we wrap up, we'd always ask our guests, but what is some advice that you have for younger athletes wanting to pursue their sport at the collegiate level?
I would say, especially for local Idaho club girls, is always expand your options. Like I feel like that's a huge thing that I learned, because when I was in club, like looking to be recruited, I only focused on indoor volleyball. And that was something I was like always used to. And so when I heard that I got like an option to go play beach, I was like, why not? Like I feel like it shouldn't be that much of a scary like jump towards it. I feel like confidence is key, and it's so cool to see beach volleyball growing like throughout the, like I feel like the country in general, because in college volleyball, like you see a lot of indoor for women, but I mean, this is another sport that women get to play, and I think it's so cool, and it's definitely something that I see growing in the next decade. So it's it's definitely an option. So no,
Yeah, for me as well, like broaden your perspective. Like I've played so many sports in my life. Like as I said, 7 years of tennis, or 8 even, soccer, basketball. Like I could have gone like so many different places with like each of those. But like I found the sport that I truly fell in love with.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to realize that you're gonna have to do this every single day. You're gonna have to stick with it. Like no one tells you that it's gonna be like an actual job. Like it's not an actual job. You do well, but it's like you're gonna have to wake up and be like, I love this. I'm gonna do this. And I feel like it really helps you figure out who you are and what do you want. And like pursuing sport in college is gonna make you grow so much. So be confident. Don't take too much in your head, because it's so easy to get stuck in your head. And having all of these thoughts, go talk to someone, go talk to your coach, talk to your teammates. They're going through the same thing. Like I feel like our team is like, hey, we're struggling in life. Like this is hard. Oh, we have so much to do. And then we're like, we got this.
Yeah.
Like we're all going through it, like this together.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here and kind of having this conversation. I've loved hearing from you guys. And yep, I hope you enjoyed hearing from Greta and Lauren. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode.